What I want to encourage you to do is we're going to go on a little bit of a journey. I'm not going to go highly in depth on what I'm about to go through, but I want to introduce you to things like business models. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to plant some seeds, and I'm hoping that you'll take it from here and go on your own little journey to pick the parts that you need. Like if you see a business model, I got introduced to franchising when I was a young man. Forever grateful for that. It's set me up in a very real and tangible way in my own life. And that might be a model that you guys want to go down, but there might be something significantly different. So I'm going to explain, Uber, Airbnb, and like how these guys get billion-dollar valuations. On the other side of it, how folks go to work so damn hard, hustle, grind, they don't get anywhere, right? Like I've got a buddy, he owns he's an Uber driver, okay? And if you ask him, he'll tell you he makes $100,000. Because he can't read financial statements, which I'll be explaining in a minute, guess what? He's ruining a $50,000 car to make $100,000. So guess what? He doesn't make $100,000. Like you've got to, do you know what I mean? You've got to be able to look at your business holistically and understand the direction you need to go. Another example, in fact, this is just I sent an email out to my boy Dan. I send out some emails that I'm going to tell you, I get told that they're reasonably funny, Dan, and my email's good.
They're readable.
They're readable, bro. Come on, man. You kidding me? But anyway, funny story. Guy's 6'6". I'm in the pool with him. At the end of it, big, like I'm big, and not just 6'6", but the guy solid as a rock. He hugs me as I leave. And he's like, man, you just changed my life. That was unbelievable. Well, I find out later from his wife that he hasn't left the pool all day. He's been pissing all day in the pool because he's pounding back beers. And I'm like, man, I just changed your life, but you were peeing all over me. What did I say to the guy? So he owned a company where he sold dogs, purebred dogs, right? Boxers. Actually, it's pugs. Sorry, it's pugs. And I said, so what do you, when you sell the dog, let me guess, they say to you, what should I feed my pug? Yay or nay? Of course, he said yay. Guess what I told him? You got to sell dog food, bro, right? Selling dogs is not a business. There's no what's called value. Not value in a traditional sense, like value that you can sell for potentially $1 million. He needs to go into the business of selling dog food instead of dogs. And it's not like something that's going to happen overnight, but 1, 3, 5, 10 years, this is how you sell a business for $1 million. Selling dogs, it's over. They're not getting anywhere. So with that being said, I'm going to encourage you guys to play along with me here. I'm not, again, my background, guys, there's me playing hockey. I love this picture of me playing hockey for Team Canada because I'm looking at the puck. And if you know anything about hockey, like, imagine LeBron James staring at the basketball. Probably not going to happen, but hey, there I am. That's one of my houses. That's my hottie wife. And I think she might be watching, by the way. Hey, baby. And that's my daughter, who's going to be pretty disappointed because she's 6 years old now. Okay? I'm not on the speaking circuit. I don't put together. Anyway, it's an old photo of my daughter. This is what it is there. I've got a magazine you guys might have heard of, the Six Figure Coach. Pretty popular magazine. If anybody wants to help me out, that would be super cool. If you want to get some content out there, fire it my way. 3 ways to make money. End of story. There are no other ways than these 3 ways. Real estate, we just heard all about it. That was fantastic. You need 10, as a rule, you're going to buy some real estate, want to do well, you need a decade or a boom. You're not going to be able to time the boom. The stock market, you're betting on somebody else. Business, I could double my money every 30 days for the rest of my life, and so could you guys if you take what you've learned over the last 3 days and go and apply it. All right? So the language of business. Very quickly, I did this actually on Monday. For those of you that were here, I'm going to do it a little bit differently now, but I've answered probably about 100 questions in and around this. So I'm just going to whip through it. Like, I asked the question, do you know how to read financial statements? And most people will say yes, but you know what you're really looking at is your tax return. To call your tax return financial statements is like taking a baseball glove and calling it a hat, okay? Very little to do with one another. So your accountant will provide you, there's literally like 100 different financial documents that they'll shoot your way with your numbers. The 3 most important are these 3. I study under a guy, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the Rich Dad. So very quickly, I'm going to show you, number 1 is a balance sheet. So everybody draw this for me very quickly, a box. Looks like that, okay? Here's your balance sheet. In traditional accounting, this is assets, this is liabilities, and this is equity. Okay, we're going to change the names because it intimidates I don't know that it intimidates you, but I can tell you the average, it intimidates the hell out of you. So what I'm going to call this is going to be your assets are going to be called stuff. Okay? Your liabilities are going to be stuff you owe. And then your equity down the bottom right is going to be stuff you own. Okay? So now we're going to put what are assets? What's the stuff? So you've got cash. So I'm going to give you a number. You've got accounts receivable will live here. Okay? Again, if you have I've done business coaching at a pretty high end. When I go into a business, first thing I do is look at accounts receivable. If it's a mess, I guarantee the rest of their business is a mess. And if you think about the stupidity of somebody with an accounts receivable problem, blow your mind. They've generated the lead, they've done the work, they've sold the deal, they've fulfilled, and they're not going to go collect their dough. And then they go buy Facebook ads, right? It's like crazy when you really understand it. You've got inventory, okay? So if you sell yo-yos, this would be your yo-yos. And then we have what we call PPE, and this is power plant and equipment. Okay, so these numbers are going to add up, and then you end up with a grand total, and let's just use 100 to keep the math nice and simple. Now, stuff you owe. So if I'm a hair salon and then I buy stuff, what am I going to buy? Shampoo, conditioner, gel, wax, these types of things. Okay, so you've got accounts payable, you've got notes payable, and then you've got taxes payable. Okay, a little bit more complex than that clearly, but I want to keep this dummy-proof as possible. But I can't begin to tell you the trajectory of your career, the trajectory of your business when you start to learn this stuff can completely change overnight. Because it's about optimization more than it is about, growth. Like if I jumped in a car and I hit the gas pedal, I'd be pretty smart to go check to make sure the wheels were on. Right? Not going to get very far. Like that's the equivalent when you're messing this up. And then stuff you own, basically you've got earnings, can't spell, earnings, you've got retained earnings, and then you've got with the business owner, whatever you put into the business to get it started. Okay, so this is the owner's investment. Okay, so let's just again hypothetically say that this is going to be 60. Then what would, if this is 100, this is 60, what does this number have to be? Bang, 40, right? So this is a balance sheet. Nothing happens in your business that doesn't land on a balance sheet. End of story. And I want you to think of it as a picture. So this is going to be as at a specific date. So November 1st, 2019. So this is a picture. Now, what's important, I talked about this the other day, but if I stand on a scale and I'm 200 pounds, the question is, without a comparable, it means nothing, okay? So if I was 230 3 weeks ago, I'm doing fabulous. If I was 160 6 months ago, this isn't so good. So you never, when your accountant, I almost guarantee you, when they provide you the financials, he won't provide you comparables or she won't provide comparables. And this is insanity when you really understand it. Because otherwise you can't really tell where you're at. You need the bookends. So that's a balance sheet. And now I wanted the second one. Again, I'm flying through this, right? An income statement, or you might know this as a profit loss. Once again, they give different names to all this stuff. Why do you think accountants and the accounting industry have all these different names for all this stuff? Justify themselves, yeah, and to confuse the hell out of you. Why do they want to confuse the hell out of you? Because they want your dough. End of story. That's not necessarily the accountants, that's the establishment, okay? So this is what we call the bottom line, which bottom line earning profits, okay? And this is going to be very simply revenue, and these are going to be expenses, okay? So these would subtract, these are going to add, and I would end up with a number. Here's the challenge. What we do is we find, what most people do is they're like, what's the bottom line, right? Well, if you've got two companies, one has $10 of revenue, $5 of expenses, what's the bottom line? Boom. You've got another business, they have $1,000 of revenue, $995 of expenses, what's their bottom line? Are they both the same? Are these two? Yeah, exactly. There's nothing similar about these two companies, but they've got the same bottom line, right? So what really you need to understand, two things, comparables and then relationships. You need to understand relationship between numbers, okay? Mastery, like comparing numbers, like 210 pounds to 200, is okay. But in accounting, the language of business, by the way, it's not most, if I had 100 people in the room, 80 would put up their hands for sales and marketing. It's the language of business is accounting all day long. So if we have a business that's, it's got, 30% of X, like revenue has grown 30%, and then we take it to 39, okay? That is 9% growth, right? 101? Okay, but mastery is knowing that that's 30%. 30 to 39 is 30%. You see the difference, right? It's not 9% at all. That's mastery, and that's what I would encourage you. And again, this is a journey. I'm going to drop some other seeds, and this is a movie, by the way. So you'd have like November 1st, 2018 to November 1st, 2019. It would actually be one less day, obviously, but this is a movie. So again, this would make me understand. So if I had a balance sheet, I would want to see a second balance sheet. So let's say November 1st, 18, and then November 1st, 2019. I need to have the movies in between to understand what the hell happened so that I know why it went up, it went down. Is this business healthy? The third document, and again, I'm going to fly through this very quickly, is a cash flow statement. And you've got operating cash. You've got finance cash. And then you've got investment cash, okay? You'll have a beginning cash and then ending, okay? So you're going to end up with a number here, but what I want to, again, this is a journey, guys. I will encourage you to not get intimidated by accounting, to go and own it. What you need to know, like finance, if I sold real estate or I sold a car, you see how all of a sudden my balance sheet, my business could look really good in a picture, but without understanding a relationship between that shift, because am I going to be able to sell the real estate next year? No. So the health of a business is 100% geared around operating cash. How well do you take assets, right? So people, hard goods, and then turn them into profit, and take the profit and turn them into cash. So important. Profit is theory, cash is fact. So you got a company, in fact, I'll cover this in a second, but you have a company that they have high profits and very low cash. This is a really bad scenario, right? The good news is if you were a business coach or you're a business owner, you can go in and make a massive change really, really quickly, okay? Because you guys watch The Prophet, you know that show? Okay, he will always go in $1 million plus, and the company's got really low profit margins. He goes, very similar to what I just talked about. He turns a screwdriver in a few different areas, boom, they become profitable overnight, fill their bank account. Okay, so this is a journey. I could do 2 hours on that, and I promise you be significantly more in depth, but the good news is it would get no more complex, which is important because I want to encourage you to follow that journey. Next slide here, tax. In fact, we just heard about it. The number one expense in your life, my life, everybody in this building, everybody in this room is tax. Mom will go sell lingerie in the kitchen with an MLM. Why? To make 10 grand. Get her to go buy a book on tax and understand where because they could just shave back and find all kinds of savings. If they're an entrepreneur, they hit a home run. But if they're working for the man, like a guy, if you meet somebody and they say they make 100 grand in their job, just stop them right in their tracks. They make $55,000 a year. Stop saying 100 grand, because that will stop them from becoming an entrepreneur, because it's all psychology. So 100 grand is much harder to walk away from than 55. So I insist that they start using the real number, but they don't realize it. I got a guy that works with us, a few of them. Kevin Daly's a client of mine, has been for a long time. He's the Harlem Globetrotters captain for like 10 years. Funniest guy ever, legend. He had me on stage and I'm doing a basketball. I look like a complete idiot. I'm like, bring the hockey sticks up, man. I'll make you look like a tool. And I'm like bouncing off my ass. Anyways, but again, guy makes really good dough in the corporate world. And I'm like, Kevin, I'm gonna sit down and play with the real number, bro. We're ever gonna get you as an entrepreneur, you gotta play with the real number. But rather than start an MLM, might not be a bad idea to do a little bit of homework there. Expenses, okay, again, people looking at your expenses and refining them, tweaking them, right? Again, it's up there with returning the library book, right? Like it's not happening and it's crazy. I want you to, what I was going through there, take a journey and start to understand and not get intimidated, but understand accounting at a higher level. Things totally change here. And what I'm not talking about is stop going to Starbucks and buying a $4 coffee, right? These are investments within your business. If you ask a $4 question, you get a $4 answer. Start asking $400,000 questions, and you get $400,000 answers, right? Like business coaching, that's my shtick. I've got coaches in 24 countries that work with us, use our software, our online platforms, and it's like, that again, like working with their clients just be so much easier, right? Like our guys, the expectation is to make $100,000. Hopefully they get to a couple $100,000, and then my unicorns make $1 million a year, right? So I've created this software called Profit Acceleration Software. And what it allows a business coach to do is to walk into any business on any planet, any culture, and find them $100,000 in 45 minutes without spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. And then the fulfillment of the profit accelerator. Oh, I get a wow, that's good, bad. Yeah. But the fulfillment is now a roadmap, because a business coach will say, nobody's got any money. And I'm like, yeah, but you're a business coach, bro, right? Or man, go make them some money. Stop jumping up and down, clapping hands and high-fiving everybody. Let's go make some doughs. Upsell, downsell, cross-sell. And that's what the software does. And then it spits out a roadmap that they can then go and fulfill on, right? But the bottom line, expenses and slight little tweaks in different areas, it just blow your mind, the speed and how quick you could do it, right? But once again, guys, I know I'm going at 100 miles an hour here, planting some seeds. This is not designed to go real deep. I want to plant a number of seeds. So like somebody introduced me to franchising many years ago, and I ran with it. The benefits that I have to this day in my life are way back when I was an incredibly young man. So if I had $100,000 and I started your business, and I don't care what it is, and I've put this on Facebook probably 20 times over the years, I would do one thing and one thing only. And I encourage you to write this down. Buy ideal clients. The same way that I go to 7-Eleven, and when I want milk and bread for my family, I pay for it. When I want clients, I pay for them, right? So again, in a nutshell, again, with limitations on time, I would lose money to bring you in, but I got to know the lifetime value of a client. The two most important business or numbers in your business and anybody that you work with, cost of client acquisition and lifetime value of a client. Okay, so make sure that you know those. But I can't buy clients and lose money until I know what my lifetime value is. Okay, that's super. So don't do one without the other, because then all of a sudden you go under. This is what happens on Facebook. People buy Facebook ads, and then they're selling a $50 toaster, and it's like there's no repeat sales and continuation. But then you can't afford to lose money. You need to profit on that one sale. The whole idea of a business is to have a model. So buying clients, you need an appointment, which I always say again. And a lot of the time I'm talking to business coaches as a rule. So if I'm trying to get an appointment with you, I'm trying to make you curious. Okay, you'll know this, and you'll see this, guys, if you ever email with me and whatnot. If I want to get you on the phone, I will send you an email to tell you that I have an idea. And I don't explain, and I will get you on the phone with 80% predictability. So I'm getting you curious. Now, I'm going to close a deal, or I want to get you to do something. I got to provide certainty. So curiosity on this end, and then certainty here. And then they will buy. So we sell money at a discount. So if I was a business coach charging $2,000 a month, that's $24,000 a year. My job is to make you certain that I'm going to provide $48,000 in return. Once I do that, you'd be nuts. Because if I had a 20 and I said, do you want to trade for a 10? First of all, everybody would go, he's full of shit. And then somebody would come up and do the transaction. And then everybody sitting in the audience would go, shit, I should have run up. And then I do it a second time and everybody comes up. It's called social proof. Right? So that when you guys are selling what you're selling, you want to create certainty to close a deal. And in our world, business coaches, that's basically, that's just, selling money at a discount. That's stolen straight from Dan Kennedy, by the way. No doubt you guys know who that is. What's that? Shit, let's go. Sit down. No. Okay, so storytelling. I'm going to say this in a different way. No, you guys have heard about this a few times. Can't begin to tell you how important it is. Gary Vaynerchuk. You guys know who Gary Vaynerchuk is? He grew his liquor store. He was on the front page of my magazine not long ago. He started at $3 million, went to, 60 million? How did he do it? He bought clients. Last slide. He would advertise the most popular beer, right? Budweiser, Jim Beam, hard liquor. He would popular all the most popular stuff at cost, maybe a slight margin, in many cases, a loss. Why would he do that? He gets you in the door, storytelling takes over, and then he'd move you into the aisle where he had craft beer and he had wine that he had these huge margins. And if you understand the liquor space, like the margins are real tight. But if you're doing craft stuff, the margins are sweet. So he went into storytelling mode. So without a salesperson and people who can, tell stories, and it was made here, and this is why it's so great, and this is the taste, blah, 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 blah. That's how we did it. You guys, bring people in at a loss, okay? Like if you were a chiropractor, provide a free massage and storytell to get them to buy chiropractic from you. But then you have a lifetime value of a client. If you're a pay-as-you-go guy, this isn't going to work. You need to have a $5,000 unit of sale for the chiropractor. Most of them don't, okay? So again, just your storytelling, planting a seed. I want you guys to run with that. Creator's mindset. McDonald's is McDonald's. It's like a home run. 1-800-GOT-JUNK is my personal favorite company on the planet. McDonald's is McDonald's because they created everything. They created the McNugget. They created Ronald McDonald, the Ronald McDonald House, the Big Mac, the secret sauce. You can't go and buy, like my daughter, I take her to KFC and she orders what? McNuggets. They're like, we don't have them here. But at the end of the day, everybody knows what she's talking about. Literally they got McCafe. They create everything. Get a creator's mindset. Again, a few days ago, I was explaining 3 levels of business: retail, wholesale, manufacturing. Manufacturing is the creation, right? So if I were to dummy this down to franchising, the local McDonald's is retail. Wholesale is the guy who owns the state or the province or the territory of McDonald's in a particular area, okay? And then the manufacturer would be like Ray Kroc. Obviously, he's long gone, but you know what I mean? So that's creation. So you want to move away from retail, and you want to move towards a creator's mindset. A creator's mindset is manufacturing, okay? If I was business coaching you, okay, you'd pay me X amount, I would show up, and the first thing that I would do is strategy eats tactics for lunch. End of story. Right? However, it's all psychology. So I would come in and we would get very tactical very quickly. I'd put some runs on the board. Like I would go through your credit. Before I hit Facebook ads, I would go through your credit card statements ruthlessly. If it doesn't bring a client or keep a client, you're going to have to convince me it's Stan. That's it. And then anything we can negotiate, like rent and whatnot, we'll go and do some negotiations, which business owners don't do negotiation. This is how you make millions of dollars. Little tweaks. And you've heard it all here for the last 3 days. But it's a journey. They're not going to be good at negotiation when they first start, but you have to send them out. You can't go and do it for them, right? So anyway, so tactical versus strategic. I want you guys to leave here and not get too strategic. I want you to get tactical so you hit some home runs. Okay, grief coach. Again, my space is coaches. I'll meet a grief coach. I've never done grief coaching, but I do know this. My goal would be to get you out of grief. We all agree with that? I just lost you as a client. I was successful, goodbye. Can somebody help me here, right? Career coach. I find you the job, get you the raise, get you the new career. What happens? I was successful, I lose you as a client. Blah, 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 blah. Coaches want to give, they want to help. See, if I'm a business coach and we're successful, you're going to have more products, more services, maybe less, by the way, but that's a different topic. You're going to have more staff, more clients, more money. Like everybody wants to make, like, say, $250,000 a year. If you're making 100, you think at 250 your problems go away? I'll give you the red hot tip. You get significantly more challenges at 250 than you had at 100, and you have significantly more at $1 million than 250, right? With 100% certainty. As a business coach, the longer I work with you, the more success you have. Guess what? It's harder to get rid of me. Now you're like married, like I leave and you're like grabbing me by the leg and I'm trying to get out of there, right? But you understand from a business model standpoint, again, like dog food or dogs. For goodness sakes, build value. Value is something that you can sell, right? And I'll tell you, most businesses that I play with, they don't understand what value is. Franchising, again, gonna do this real quick, guys. There's A, B, and C. I sit with somebody and they say, am I going to continue my business or am I going to sell my business, right? Okay, you got the money's all, in fact, write this down, please. There's A, B, and C. The money is almost always in C. Okay, as in, am I gonna sell? Am I gonna keep going? What's C? Franchising would be an example of C. Here's the thing. So you get 100% of your company. If you sell it, how much do you own? 0. Very straightforward. Why do you want to sell it? You're probably a little bit over it. You're sick of running it. Okay, well, you can franchise it and go sell the rights to Indiana. Depends on what kind of business. Let's just say it's $50K, which is nothing, right? In the franchising world, $50K. How much of your business do you own when you sell that? 100%. And is it now worth more? And you have 50 grand in the bank to go and buy some cool shit, right? And then you sell, you're like, wow, that worked well. Go sell Michigan, okay? 50 grand. Franchising is again, I've helped people franchise. I just finished writing franchise disclosure or franchise intellectual property for a mobile car detailer, which I'll be providing for my business coaches so they can go take mom and dad out of crappy jobs where they think they make 100 grand, they really make 52 or 55 roughly, and we put them into the entrepreneur world where they can pay significantly less tax. The reason you become an entrepreneur is to sell less tax or to pay less tax. Slight exaggeration, but take that away as a lesson, you'd be doing yourself a huge favor. But anyway, so franchising, you still own 100% of the business. You don't need A, B, or C. The money's in C. I could give you 100 examples similar to that, but franchising, again, I'm not going to be able to talk about that here, and I got a zip, but powerful. I know there's a lot of people in here thinking about apps, okay? Google has a rule, it's called the toothbrush test. Apps and software, okay? So I've just finished profit acceleration software. I've had 1.0 for a number of few years now. 2.0 just got released, I just had an event with all my guys in Cancun last week. We released it, the toothbrush test. Google don't create anything that you don't use twice a day. So if you're gonna create software, you're gonna create an app, here's my question. Will they use it twice a day? Maybe, maybe not, but I'll tell you, Google wouldn't build it if you didn't. These guys know what they're doing. You might wanna listen. And once again, guys, I'm going at 100 miles an hour. I'm planting seeds that I'm gonna hope maybe something's gonna stick here and you guys go run with and start buying some books, buying some programs, getting around some folks that understand this stuff at a really high level and can help you on your journey. Dell computers, I love this. I'm a watch guy, got lots of watches. So I bought a watch the other day, it was a couple weeks ago, and I bought it, I paid for it, and then they sent me an email and said, they didn't say thank you, they said congratulations. That in itself is powerful. They go, congratulations, we're making your watch. I want you to think of my balance sheet earlier, in the assets, in the stuff, what lived there? Inventory. If I paid for it, and they're now making my watch, how much inventory are they gonna get stuck with at the end of the year? Zip, zilch, nada. That's Dell model, Dell Computers model. Your clients, you guys, how much inventory are you potentially getting locked with at the end of the year? Not good, ruin your balance sheet, ruin the profitability of your business, and to show the profit, you guys said you watched that, it's right there. Two-way channel. Anybody wonder how the hell Airbnb gets like $100 billion valuation? They have a two-way channel. The same place you go to, where's Jason? Jason, do I have another, where's Jason? Anyway, so two-way channel, the same place you go to put your place up for rent is the same place you go to rent it. That's a two-way channel. They create their own clients, become a creative mindset. Uber, the same place you go to hail at Uber is the same place you go to try and make 100 grand as an Uber driver, whatever they call themselves, right? Two-way channel. Where you guys, could you go create your own clients? Information business, I'm gonna skip over this one, but basically Facebook, LinkedIn, again, whatever number of billion, Lord knows, I think they lost count themselves. In fact, I will say this though, 1 million seconds is 11 days. 1 billion seconds is 32 years. 1 trillion seconds is 32,000 years. Your government throws around, my government, your government, trillions of dollars. There's nothing similar about 1 million, billion, nor a trillion, right? Well, these guys, like $100 billion valuation, understanding the level that is should just blow your mind. Product versus service. Look, I've been talking about, you gotta become a product, right? So the dog food versus dogs, building something you could potentially sell If you're gonna buy a business, people go and buy a thriving business and think this is a good idea. If I was gonna buy your business and you had 10 chairs or 10 rooms, I want 7 of them to be empty, because now there's room for massive growth. If 9 of them are full, this is not a business I'm gonna come buy, and you guys are gonna try and overvalue it. Right? I'm buying a business, start at 0 and go up, not their price and come down. Very different psychology, but very different mindset. Advertising, I meet people all the time. I build my business on word of mouth and referrals. And they pound their chests like this is intelligent. Okay, this is stupidity at its finest, right? Advertising to profit, to cash, probably should be in there. Advertising to profit is a superpower. You've got to find a way. Again, I started a magazine. It's lead generation for my company, right? And I can get a lot of people on the phone. You guys can't remember your realtor that you bought a house from for over 3 years ago. If you're not following up, you know, they came and did your workshop or they bought XYZ, they can't remember who the hell you are, right? If you can't remember who you spent $700,000 with, they're not remembering you guys. At 3 years, you forgot your realtor's name. That, I don't know what you guys, it blows my mind, right? So, you know, follow-up, drip campaigns, that sort of stuff. The tip jar, I wrote an email that kind of got an insane, like I'm talking 350 replies directly to me. Very quick story. If you got an 18-year-old, you want to get him a date, do this. Send him into the local cafe. There will be a tip jar. The tip jar will be something like a coffee cup, and they will keep it like 20% full, and then they'll actually, when it gets 30, 40, you know what they do? They take money out to make it look like it's empty, right? Your 18-year-old walks in, we'll assume there's a pretty girl behind the cafe. If I could double your tips in 7 days, will you go to the movies with me? All right, hot shot, no worries, yeah? Guess what? You gotta take that, you gotta turn it into like something like a beer, like a pint glass. It needs to be see-through. It should be 75% to 90% full at all times, including at 6 a.m. when you come to work. And then you skim it to keep it between 75 and 90. She will double her tips immediately. Boom. Show up your 18-year-old, pimples on his face, not gonna matter. He's got himself a hot little date. Social proof, basically, okay? Again, you guys need, to present an aura of being super busy, right? Like I've got, again, Kevin Daly's a client of mine. He's the Harlem Globetrotters captain for 10 years. Like, don't think that gets, doesn't get thrown in all the time inconveniently. Who are you guys working with? Michael Jordan made Nike. Again, they literally, created a line of shoes around him, right? So again, who can you do business for free to be able to drop it with every person you speak to say, Tom Brady's wife is a client of ours, right? Lose money for a massive amount of social proof. The 20% of the people that spend the most money with you, somebody said it earlier, say thank you. Go to these folks. It was Mikhail, actually. Go say thank you and work with these guys. I wish I had more, but we're profitable. We have no cash. Tom, where's Jason? I was going to get an extra 10 minutes, but do you want me to, do I got to wrap this thing up, or can I? Is that all right? 5? Okay, beautiful. Okay, this is important, okay? I'm profitable. Hands up if you've seen that. I'm profitable, but I got no cash. Like, it is insane, okay? But here's the good news. It's insanely easy to fix. There's 5 areas you go straight to, 100% certainty this will solve the problem. Number 1, you got to increase revenues, okay? This does not take a rocket scientist to work out. Number 2, you've got to decrease your, expenses, okay? Number 3, you need to decrease your accounts receivable, and I'm going to put a star beside this. Again, anybody who has an accounts receivable problem, their business is just insanely disorganized. I guarantee it. You've generated the lead, you've sold the deal, you've fulfilled, and then you go and run the Facebook ads, right? Like it's diabolical when you really understand it, but this is somewhere you should be looking straight away. Inventory, again, I gave you the example of, I bought a watch. Right? Again, they say, congratulations, we're making your watch. Think of Ford versus Tesla. Okay, you walk into a Tesla dealership, there's 4 cars, right? You go like in Ford, there's like literally an acre, whatever land, and how many vehicles. What happens at the end of the year? They're stuck with them and they got to run this stuff out. terrible. And this one might surprise you. You've got to you have to increase your accounts payable. You ever met somebody who says, I pay everybody straight away. I don't like debt. If you buy something from Apple, most cash flush business on the planet, they don't pay you for 91 days, right? You guys don't try be a sweetheart. Don't be in a rush to pay people. Why? Again, the cash is better in your business, inventory, service some accounts receivable, etc. Like the money is better in your bank account than theirs. And that doesn't mean you don't pay people. It's not what I'm talking about. But negotiate terms early on, and this can create a real nice little bump in your cash and your accounts payable or your cash flow. Yeah. You got to decrease them because they're too high. You got to bring them down. You got to go collect the dough.
Too much money's out.
Yeah. Yeah. If your accounts receivable is too high, you got to bring it down.
You need to collect money and take it from your people that owe.
Yep. Makes sense? Sorry.
I thought you said stop taking money in, as in stop.
No. Accounts receivable. Again, big stars beside this one, guys. It's just this right here. You can't let this happen. Okay, but you got a business who has no cash, but they're profitable. Remember, profit is theory, cash is fact. End of story. Okay? The difference is the deadline. The closer, this is powerful, right? Like, I'm a terrible golfer, but here I am, okay? That's the hole. Okay, I played a little bit of hockey, so I got a decent swing apparently, but I can't get it anywhere near the damn hole. But anyway, so here's the hole. I'm here. Instead of going back 20 feet and practicing my putt, go to the hole 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot. This is how you become a master golfer, right there, bang. The close, think of somebody doing a marathon. What do they do 100 meters from the finish line? Make your goals nice and easy and simple and keep running over that. And you should have some long-term goals, right? Some big ones. But if you want to get some momentum, you want to have a kick-ass Monday, set a goal that you can knock over straight away. The closer you get to it, the faster you go, okay? You want to lose 10 pounds? I guarantee I can help you do it. Go put your name down for the local 10K race. End of story. You will magically start jogging, even though I did Tough Mudder one time, and my wife, I told her I basically walked around the block, and then I did Tough Mudder, and I'm like, I'm really glad I went around the block. She's like, oh my God, and I injured my back, which I'm sure is incredibly surprising to all of you. But the difference is in the death. Here's my question. Do you guys have deadlines? Do you got a deadline right now? You're working back. Here's something else I do. Like every day, here's a look at my profit acceleration software. So break your day up into a quarter, okay? Like say you work 8 hours a day, 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, have a bell go off. And here's my question. How did you do for the quarter? And at the end of the day, this is the end of the game. Did you win or did you lose? If you do that, you've got no idea the amount of efficiency you'll bring into it. Then how do you weigh whether or not you achieved, you know what I mean? If you had success in the day, before you start, you have the 3 most important things that you need to accomplish in that day, and kaboom. This is, then you know, and then you just keep, and you play it like a playoff series. There's 7 games, you got to go 4 for 7. There's 86,400 seconds in your day. When somebody pisses you off at 9 a.m., don't worry about it, right? Don't go smoke the rest of the 86,400. So there you go, guys. Hopefully that was fast enough for you, okay? But again, planting some seeds here, guys, and hoping to send you guys off on a journey to, play with, franchising and business models. Rather than go do Facebook ads as a first step, make sure that your profit margins are such that, the wheels are turned on in your car. Make sense? So that's all I got, guys. Appreciate it. Kaboom.